Today I am talking about something that's a little more serious but really important, and that is coming out about food addiction. I remember looking online for resources for food and this struggle that I was going through and this compulsive eating and this binging and not finding anyone that was really talking about it. When I got into the groups that I've been going to in the therapy, it really made me realize how many people struggle with this and how little is out there. There's such shame and guilt around being someone who uses food as a drug and as a coping mechanism because it's not really seen by our society as something that's a legitimate addiction or disease, and it very much is. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how to come out about food addiction. There's two really important parts to that. The first part is coming out to yourself, and the second part is coming out to your friends and family and those people around you. So part one is coming out to yourself, and that is the most crucial part because it's creating awareness, and you need awareness to make changes. I saw myself eating and using food in a way that not many people around me were using it. The obsession, the binges, the compulsive feeling like food was calling me from the fridge, or just like I felt out of control. Going to dinner and being 50% in the conversation with your friend, but 50% in the leftovers on their plate or the bread in the basket, I realized it was taking away from my presence. This isn't an issue of willpower. This isn't an issue of controlling your food. It's more an issue of how you're using food to cope with discomfort and to cope with emotions and things you don't want to feel. So a really big turning point for me was when I realized that I couldn't do this alone. Another big step is to acknowledge that this is a real true addiction and disease, like alcoholism, like drug addiction, and it should be treated as such. In my opinion, I think dealing with food addiction is probably one of the hardest things you can do because you can't just eliminate your drug. You have to learn to manage food. You can't just cut it out completely because we have to eat. Food should be fuel. And if it has a lot more power to you and it becomes your love and your blanket and your warmth and your comfort, then you're probably using food in an emotional way. So once you realize this, you can seek help. And that's when part two comes in. Part two is coming out to your friends and family. It's not cool to have a food addiction in our society, and it's not really diagnosed as a real disease yet. People aren't going to understand it, and you can't expect them to. What you can expect them to do is listen and support you, and you can ask for that. And so what I like to do is explain to people that this is very much like a drug addiction or alcoholism or someone who's addicted to tobacco, where food is something that feels compulsive, feels like it has control over you. Let your family and friends know that it's not an issue of willpower or being on some new diet or exercising control. Let them know that it's an issue much deeper than that, and it's an issue of dealing with your emotions and your feelings and kind of retraining yourself away from the old habits that have kept you stuck in this cycle. And that's it. You first come out to yourself, and then you come out to your friends and family. And I guarantee that having that support around you and being open and honest will really create the awareness and help you to start making the changes that need to happen in order to overcome this. It is a very real addiction. It is an incredibly real thing, and it hurts and it's painful. And so many people struggle, and you're not alone. So I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks.